Hey fish friends, how's it going? Hope you're doing well. Zenzo with Tazawa Tanks. Now I know it's been a minute since I've released a video on this channel. I do have some inspiration to start making some videos again. I got some cool ideas. In fact, last night I just got back from Corey's house. Corey, owner of Aquarium Co-op, where I spent the entire week at his house and we were talking about things and mainly working on his fish room and optimizing stuff. Anyway, I got back last night and I wanted to kind of share some thoughts with you, but also I want to cover a topic that I get asked of quite a bit. Now, I made a couple of videos on this channel a few years ago, talking about leaving your fish alone on vacation and what you need to do. Now, there's a lot of things that you can do, and if you want to watch those videos, I'll pop it up here or put it down below in the description of this video so that you can watch that video as well. But the reason why I want to make this video is recently I left my fish alone. Now, beginning of January, I was gone for 8 days. My family and I went to Hawaii on vacation, and I didn't do anything. There's no one here to feed fish. I didn't want to ask a friend to come over and try to feed fish. And I've done this before where I've been gone for like a week or so at a time and I've done nothing and everything was fine. So that happened in early January. And then most recently this week, I was gone again. So I was out of town Monday through Friday. Today is Saturday. And I last was in this fish room on Sunday. So it's been 6 days, or today would be the 6th day since I've seen my fish or fed my fish. In fact, I just walked in here about 20 or 30 minutes ago, looked around, and everything looks fine. I haven't touched a tank except for rinsing a little sand off of the front of the mudskipper tank, which I'm going to show you. And I just also prepped a little bit of food because we're going to walk around and feed some fish. So for those of you that might be wondering, like, how long can you leave your fish alone? And you know, are they okay if I don't feed my fish for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, all that kind of stuff? The answer is yes. As I shared, I was gone on vacation in Hawaii for 8 days. None of the fish in here had one morsel of food added, and they were all fine. My tanks upstairs, all fine. Tanks in the office, all fine. So to answer the question, the fish don't need to eat that often if you are going to be on vacation every now and then infrequently. Now, if you're going to be gone all the time, where you're gone, let's say 7, 8 days in a row, and that happens like every other week, you're going to want to use an auto feeder or something, or have some type of situation where there's food in the tank for the fish to eat, or you have someone taking care of the tanks. But if you're gone a week or so at a time, every month or so, it's not that big of a deal. Now remember that this is really not nature. Like, we try to replicate nature, but the fish in these tanks don't have the same forces of nature that they do in the wild. They're not dealing with changing weather conditions. They're not dealing with predators. They're not dealing with having to fight for food and survive out in the wild. They live in these boxes of glass and acrylic, and they have some human like me that walks in every day on most occasions and drops in some high quality protein or frozen food, and they don't have to forage for it or fight for it or hunt for it. They can just basically wait there, swim to the front of the glass, and wait for me to drop in some high quality pellets or flake food kind of a thing. So they're kind of spoiled, right? And if you keep that in mind, you realize that the fish that you keep are very adept at you know, not having optimal conditions all the time when it comes to food, and food isn't readily available. There might be times in the wild when they might not find food for 2 or 3 days in a row, and it might not be the highest quality food at that time. And they're not always going to have some really good food that you're putting in the aquarium like we do here. Now, I think what I want to do is I want to go ahead and feed some fish and show you what they look like. And again, I haven't done anything except for rinsing off some sand off the front of a glass. I'll probably just have to grab my iPhone because I can't hold this big camera and walk around and feed at the same time, but I just want to show you what it looks like when the fish haven't eaten for a week, and basically show you that they're fine, they're healthy. I've got baby fish, they haven't been eaten, the whole thing. And yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and push stop on this camera, and we'll go ahead and film with my phone. Oh yeah, real quick, this is a sponsored video, and before we get into me walking around and feeding the fish, I do want to thank my longtime sponsor that has been with me for a few years now, my favorite t-shirt company, Into the AM. Lots of cool graphic tees. In fact, don't know if you can see or not, but I'm wearing some Into the AM jeans. I'll get some good B-roll. But thank you to Into the AM for sponsoring this video. Into the AM now has a basics collection as your everyday staple that marries comfort and versatility. The Into the AM Basics collection is a must-have for those that value looking good without compromising comfort. Now, I've been wearing Into the AM for a few years now, and I've always enjoyed their comfortable t-shirts with awesome graphics, and I've also been wearing their button-ups, joggers, hoodies, hats, shorts, casual shirts, and now even their jeans. Their jeans are so comfortable and flexible that I can even squat in them. Everything that I've worn has been good quality, and did I mention comfortable? Check out Into the AM by using the link down below to save 10%, but more importantly, get some cool gear. All right, if you want to check out some cool clothes, check the link down below, get your discount, get some cool, fashionable clothes that are comfortable. All right, we are now on the iPhone camera. So there's the main camera, which we're not using obviously. And here are all the tanks. So I'm gonna go ahead, sorry, hopefully I didn't make you dizzy. I'm gonna go ahead and start feeding some food. So here I have some frozen bloodworms that I've already thawed out a little bit. And then I have some Aquarium Co-op Magic. I have some freeze-dried bloodworms. I have some freeze-dried brine shrimp. And I have the floating community pellets here. So I think what we'll do is we'll start off with an, because that's kind of a fun food, and we can kind of see how this works in action. In fact, a little bonus, we're gonna go upstairs when I'm done. And for those of you that are fans of African cichlids and maybe wondering what's going on with those African cichlids that I filmed a long time ago, all those babies, we're gonna go see them, we're gonna feed them as well. So let's start off with the 125. This is my Tanganyikan community tank. So 125, 6-foot tank, 18 inches front to back, got the 3D background from Universal Rocks, bunch of algae, and a bunch of fish. We have Gelitochromis in here, we've got Neolamprologus multifasciatus, multis, we got the Cyprichromis that I got from Corey a while back. There's Calvus in here, probably hiding, there's big Calvus right there. And let's see, there's that Lepido Lamprologus shell dweller. But anyway, yeah, lots of fish going on. And let me go ahead and pop off and open a top. And we're gonna put in this feed. Now I like this a lot. It kind of resembles like live baby brine shrimp, which I do hatch. But as it kind of floats around in the water column, the fish start to go crazy for it and they attack it like they would a live baby brine shrimp without the hassle of having to hatch it all the time. So I'll go ahead and put some more in there because it wasn't very much. And I like using this in tanks that have smaller fish, as it is small enough for the small fish to eat. And as I said before, you can see that we've got some babies in here, some fry, some tiny one there. And the reason why I want to show these is that these are baby fish in a tank that hasn't been fed for a week. They're all over the place and they haven't been predated upon. Now it does help that their parents are very protective and they kind of keep predators away, but regardless, lots of activity in this tank, lots of babies swimming around, and they are not getting picked off. So overall, very happy. Moving over here, we have, what is this? The gold ocelotus tank. This tank doesn't look good, but the fish are healthy. Let me see if I can get some shots there. We got some adults, we got some juvenile. These are all fish that were tiny little babies just a few months ago. And I'm gonna go ahead and put some of this magic small fish feed in here as well. Same kind of thing. It's gonna float around. Now I kind of scared them off a little bit, so we'll give them a little bit of space and wait for them to come out and start eating as well. All right, let's move over to, let's go to these guys here. Actually, let's do these. So this is these, they're hungry, look at that. In fact, this tank, I actually put a bunch of duckweed before I left, so they haven't been starving quite as long as everyone else, although you can see all the duckweed is gone. But they know when dad's in the room, oftentimes they're getting fed. So let me try to grab something with my other hand. We're gonna do the community floating pellet here. Bear with me as I'm trying to juggle one hand and the other. So this is the easy community floating pellets. So this is kind of a smaller pellet that doesn't sink right away. And the reason I like that is oftentimes when you use a sinking pellet, it gets down in the substrate and they can still get to it, but then they're digging a bunch and making a mess and kind of clogs up your filters faster. Maybe not everything gets eaten, so it might affect your water quality. Let me just slide the lid over a little bit. I'm gonna pour some of this in there. And you can see that this food just kind of stays suspended. So even as it sinks, it'll sink down and then it kind of floats back up again. So here we have them just going crazy for it. It's floating down, and it'll kind of do one of these things where they'll just kind of float around in the water, come back up, and then eventually it gets picked off. And even if it makes it down to the bottom, it doesn't like get buried in the substrate. It kind of makes its way back up again, and it's great. It's just small enough for the small fish to eat, but big enough for the big fish to enjoy as well. Now I may not be able to feed everybody while I'm doing this one-handed. Let's put some floating pellets in the goldfish tank here. But I just want to kind of give you guys just a peek around and see that all the fish are healthy and doing well, and you know, obviously hungry because they haven't eaten in a week, but they're doing fine. Let's do these mud skippers. And this was the one where I was telling you I had to, they're super like splashy because this is a paludarium. So this area gets super dirty. So this is where I was cleaning off the sand a little bit earlier. We're gonna feed them some bloodworms, frozen bloodworms. Let me do this one-handed here. All right. I love feeding these guys as long as my hand is not in the tank. As I've shared before in other videos, they can bite. And while they don't like draw blood or pierce skin, they have very, very sharp teeth, and it does not feel good. So I'm usually quite careful when I'm feeding them. But here we can see a bunch of these large African mud skippers, and I'm sure they're quite hungry as they haven't had a meal in a few days. To put things in perspective, size-wise, here's my hand. I wear a large glove, and you can see that they're as big as my hand, or lengthwise at least. So, you know, probably like 7+ inches long and about as thick as like a hot dog. So they're gonna eat some bloodworms. All right, let's move along. Let's maybe let's look around and look at some fish instead of trying to feed. So here we have some electric blue acara. You guys saw these in a recent video. I'm gonna be moving these fish. I'm gonna be moving these corridor, which I'll be talking about shortly. There's the white clouds, 5-star general. We've got this planted jungle tank, jungle of a tank. There's an apisto right there. Here's my green spotted puffer. I think he would like some bloodworms, so let's give him some bloodworms. I usually feed this guy a lot of snails to help keep his beak trimmed. Come on, pay attention. There we go. Very cool fish. All right, so anyway, moving along. Again, we're not gonna feed everybody right now. I'll do that off camera. But we've got the guppies here. We've got Indian mud skippers. These are the little ones that are like as thin as a pencil. And I bet you if I put some bloodworms in here, they will come out of hiding because there's a few of them in here, along with some Amano shrimp and bumblebee gobies and everything. But let me just move the lid. Again, I apologize for doing this one-handed with a phone, but you know, the things you gotta do to film on YouTube. All right, so put some bloodworms there. Put some in the water for the bumblebee gobies. Put some there so they can smell it. And I bet you if I come back here in a minute or so, they won't be hiding and they'll be out and about. Oh, there's one there. Getting some bloodworms. This one over here is like thinking about it, like, should I swim over there? Should I get some? Yeah, you should. Yeah, we'll just have to come back when maybe they're not startled. A lot of times when I have this light on, kind of bright, and they're not used to it because I only turn it on during filming, then they kind of hide out. But anyway, here's the other fish. We got, you know, the mollies in here. We've got, oh, there's another apisto. There's a top hat blenny in here that usually hides under the rocks. We have, got the large peacocks, Alanacaris. I'll be feeding them. I'm gonna feed them some freeze-dried brine shrimp. And so I'm actually gonna feed some of this upstairs too. So the freeze-dried brine shrimp cubes, they're obviously dry. And I like feeding my African cichlids this sometimes because it kind of acts like fiber. So not only is it a protein, which, you know, all animals need some amount of protein, even if they're vegetarians or whatever. In fact, it's a brand new one, so I'll do this later. But I like feeding the brine shrimp because it is a protein source that also kind of has like some fibrous roughage qualities, like a cruciferous vegetable. And it kind of helps our digestive tract kind of keep things clean, just kind of like, you know, you eating broccoli or whatever. And so I like doing that. So, all right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to the main camera. All right, well, hopefully if you were wondering about feeding your fish or not feeding your fish, that was helpful in kind of seeing that fish are healthy and happy. I guess they're happy. They don't tell me they're happy or unhappy, but I can tell by looking at them kind of how they're doing. So now we're gonna go upstairs and feed those Africans and show you what's new with them. All right, so here are the African cichlids. We're upstairs in the living room. And if you remember from a video last year, these were all like small, like pretty small juveniles. And now we can see a lot of the males are fired up, super colored. Look at that one right there. Like, that is really, really brilliant. Hopefully the camera is doing it justice and showing you how colorful they are. But remember, these were all fish that were bred from the ones downstairs. This tank needs, you can see it's been evaporated and need to do a water change, but just wanted to show you the fish. Like, they're doing really well. Really, really well. So it is overstocked. I am gonna move some downstairs, but I am enjoying having African cichlids up in the living room again. Like, look at that guy. Look at that. That's so cool. And these are all fish that bred in my fish room. Like, that is just so cool. That's what I love about African cichlids, is you can get some of the most beautiful, cool, large fish. And a lot of times it's a surprise. You know, you don't know if you're gonna get OB or little red shoulder there. Got a little sunshine going on right here. Really loving these guys, and I'm gonna go ahead and feed them some food too. They're gonna get some of the community floating pellet. All right, so we see these cichlids, they're eating the pellets. And again, what I love about these floating pellets is they'll go down, then they'll go back up, and they're not all falling down into the substrate and get lost in the sand. But now I want to talk a little bit about this fish room and some inspiration. But I want to talk about just this fish room in general and you know, I had some conversations with Corey, and we were talking about just enjoying the hobby and enjoying aquariums and doing things that are fun and keeping the fish I want to keep. And while I do have some fish that I love, I have some fish that I'm kind of like, they're okay. Like, I'm not crazy about the species anymore. I haven't really bred them in a while, and I want to make some changes. And I think really what I need to do is I want to make a good workspace down here. So I'm going to end up removing a few tanks. I think I've decided on removing these 6 aquariums that are on this wall. And I've got another one in the back corner that's empty. So that's going to free up about 7 tanks in here, large tanks. And that's going to free up some time for me to spend more time on some of the other aquariums. And also when I get rid of these aquariums, I'm going to be able to turn this whole area into like a workspace or a desk. So that way I can bring a laptop. I actually have a laptop down here, but I can come down here with a laptop. I'll set up a couple monitors and I'll be able to work down here and just spend more time. Like, I do have this kind of small little desk situation, but it's not the best. And I want to just spend more time and do more things down here. And I feel like the more I'm down here hanging out, working, I'll be able to see things, clean tanks better, maybe get into some different fish that I haven't tried before, breed some different fish that I haven't bred before, and also make more videos for all of you. So hopefully that will be something that I'll be able to share with you in the near future. Well, that was the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you have learned something, if you have enjoyed this video, go ahead and let me know down below in the comments. Give it a like, all that good stuff. Don't forget to thank my sponsor by checking out Into the AM. Use that discount code down below and get some cool gear for yourself. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out this other video, and I'll catch you on the next one.